Reading from Luke's Gospel, the 2nd chapter. Now, every year, Jesus' parents went to Jerusalem for the festival of the Passover. And when he was 12 years old, they went up as usual for the festival. When the festival was ended and they started to return, the boy Jesus stayed behind in Jerusalem. But his parents did not know it. Assuming that he was in the group of travelers, they went a day's journey. Then they started to look for him among their relatives and friends. When they did not find him, they returned to Jerusalem to search for him. After 3 days, they found him in the temple, sitting among the teachers, listening to them and asking them questions. And all who heard him were amazed at his understanding and his answers. When his parents saw him, they were astonished. And his mother said to him, "Child, why have you treated us like this? Look, your father and I have been searching for you in great anxiety." He said to them, "Why were you searching for me? Did you not know that I must be in my Father's house?" But they did not understand what he said to them. Then he went down with them and came to Nazareth and was obedient to them. His mother treasured all these things in her heart. And Jesus increased in wisdom and in years and in divine and human favor. This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. Well, friends, we're going to be covering a great deal of ground today and in the coming weeks. I'm excited. I'm kicking off a new sermon series today called Seek. And we're going to be talking about what we're looking for in 2016 and beyond. And I'm excited because it's going to give me an opportunity to share some of my passions about ministry with you, just as we've gotten to know each other over these so many months since August when we arrived here. But I'm going to be sharing a little bit more in depth about what my vision is for ministry and how we can do ministry together in this place, in this time as a congregation. And I'm really excited about that. I believe God is calling the church to do great, amazing things in the 21st century. And we are in a great position to do those things. God's equipping us as we need to do what God is calling us to do. That's exciting. So, I want to start today, as every good quest starts, I think, by looking for Jesus. I mean, that could be a movie title, right? Can you see it? Looking for Jesus. See a trailer now. Well, be a plot of a great movie. It would, except it is kind of perplexing that here Jesus is. I mean, first of all, his parents don't even realize they've gone a day's journey and he's not there. All right, well, we can kind of excuse that. They were traveling in a large company. They assumed he was old enough to know, to travel with them. And so they assumed he was with other travelers in their company. They get to the end of the first day's journey, realize he's not, and oh no, what have we done? Right? So they go back, and after 3 more days, they finally find him. The 3 days, by the way, yes, there's some symbolism there, we know. But they find him, and what does Jesus say? Well, you should have known I was here in the temple. Other than all of that, and what would you have done if you were Jesus' parent in that moment? Other than all of that, it's great, right? I think that seeking Jesus is really what we're all doing, even those who don't realize it. That's what we're seeking. But more on that in a little bit. Just about every great movie or great book has somebody seeking something. Oftentimes, really great movies or great books, different people are seeking different things, and we have to navigate through the complexity of that, right? And that's what's kind of cool. But there's usually 1 or 2 people who are on a great quest. They're seeking something, and we follow them. They're the hero or the heroine, and their quest, what they're seeking, is what's most important. Maybe they're seeking to vanquish a foe. Maybe they're seeking glory. Maybe they're seeking to win some sort of prize. Maybe they're seeking to rescue someone who's in great peril. or to win the love of his or her life. Or maybe what they're seeking is just to understand what it is in life they're seeking, right? You know those kinds of movies? Sometimes those are great movies too. Whether it's Dorothy who's seeking to go home to Kansas, or Luke Skywalker who is seeking to defeat the Empire, restore balance to the Force, and save his father in the process, we love watching people seek something. And we watch because the quest is worthy. If we start watching a movie and we don't get that what the hero or heroine is trying to do seems worthy or seems like something we want to be a part of, we might walk away or turn the movie off, right? Change the channel. Read a different book. But we keep watching because there's something about that quest that seems worthwhile to us. And so we follow. We want to know how it ends, where it goes. Does the hero or heroine make it? And we can relate. Because we are seekers too. We're seekers. We're seeking something. We may not even know that we're seeking something. Or we may know it, but we may not realize what it is that we're seeking. We may just have some sense. There's something incomplete in my life. There's somewhere I've lost track. There must be more to it than this. How many people in the world live their lives every day like that? And sometimes it's us. But we're seeking something. The trick is, in real life, not in movies or in books, it's rarely so clear what it is we're seeking. In a movie, it's easy, right? It's what dominates so much of the plot of the movie or the book. In our own lives, we have distractions. Lots of them. Like, do we have enough milk or eggs for when company comes? Or is it time for me to have my car's oil changed? Or I think my wardrobe may be a little bit behind the times. Is it time for me to spend a little money and update it? Or will my new prescription drugs interact with my current ones? These are important issues, important questions. But they're the tasks of everyday life that distract us from the big issues, the big pictures. So how do we move from the merely important aspects of our lives? Because those are all important things. I'm not saying they're not. How do we move from the merely important aspects of our lives to the absolutely essential things in life? What is it we're seeking? How do we get clarity on our purpose, our meaning, God's will for us? How do we discover what we're really seeking in life? Let me give you an example. Chances are your life's quest is not that brand new car you have your heart set on, but, well, not the comfort, the convenience, the style, the sportiness of it, but what it is you're seeking in that car may give you a clue as to what you're seeking in life. Follow me here. If you're looking for a luxury car, right? Something that when you get in it, you just melt into the seats. Maybe what you're seeking in life is a little less stress, a little less burden, a way to ease your struggles. If your heart is set on that fancy new sports car that you can just see yourself sitting in and impressing all your friends when you pull up, well, maybe what you're seeking in life is a little more adventure, or the admiration of your friends, or a better self-image. You see, oftentimes the things that we think that we need, the material possessions that we think that we need, are really something that we're using to an end, and we don't even know what that end is until we think about it. So I want to ask you, what are you seeking? What are you looking for? And what's underneath what you think you're seeking? Does that make sense? Viktor Frankl said that, Viktor Frankl's quest was to help others find meaning in life. He was a psychiatrist. He was also a Nazi concentration camp survivor. survivor. And he noted that those inmates in the camps with him who had a purpose, even in those horrible, horrific environments, those who had purpose coped better with what was going on around them. He wrote a book called Man's Search for Meaning. The original title in German is something like Trotzdem ja zum Leben sagen. Those of you who speak German, pardon my horrible pronunciation. That was the best I could do. But he said, it said, nevertheless, say yes to life. Isn't that a great book title? Nevertheless, say yes to life. And what he said is that people who have meaning, who have purpose, we're able to survive in an atmosphere of fear and hatred. So maybe that purpose was sharing kindness to those around you. Or maybe that purpose was being love in an atmosphere of fear and hatred. But those who had purpose stayed human in a dehumanizing environment. So in some ways, he said, this is a quote, in some ways, suffering ceases to be suffering at the moment it finds a meaning. Suffering ceases to be suffering at the moment it finds a meaning. We too need purpose. And oftentimes I think that's what we're seeking. We're seeking a purpose. We need a purpose to keep our dignity and humanity in a world that even today sees people so often as a means to an end. And you know that feeling. You know when you talk to somebody or you go into a store or you have a business or professional relationship with somebody and they don't see you as a person. You know the feeling. When they look right through you, they see you as a means to whatever their end is. Well, we affirm the humanity and dignity of people, right? We, the church, in Christ's love. And so we want to be human. We want our own dignity. We're seeking that, and we're seeking that for others around us. We can live in that when we know what our purpose is. Now, I love New Year's. I love a fresh, clean slate, a new start. And I love New Year's resolutions. Who has New Year's resolutions? Raise your hand if you have them. Just a few. Get working, guys. New Year's was 3 days ago. I love setting goals. I love New Year's resolutions. And the reason I do, I know we don't always hit them. I know sometimes it's kind of hokey to have New Year's resolutions. But the reason that I love New Year's resolutions is if you have a goal, you can move in the direction of something greater. You can move in the direction of a life that is more than what you have now. And I love that. I love the idea of that. Sometimes I love the idea more than the reality, but, those are the resolutions we leave behind. But I love New Year's resolutions, and a lot of people have them, and if you have resolutions, if you don't have resolutions, but if you have things that you're striving for in life, let me tell you, this church is a good place to bring them, to share them. If you have something that you're trying to do in your life, turning over a new leaf, starting something fresh, share it with a friend here at the church. Ask them to hold you accountable. Now, friend, if your friend doesn't ask you to hold them accountable, don't. That's not fair. If someone tells you they're going on a new diet and you go out to lunch, don't sit there and remind them about their new diet unless they asked you to. If they ask you to, it's fair game. But we give each other support, encouragement in the things that we're seeking in life. That's what we do in the church. We affirm that what you're seeking is important. You're seeking to help people in this certain way, and that's valuable. You're seeking to find dignity in this certain way, and that's important. You're seeking to experience God, and that's essential. And we, the church, are here for one another, for those of us who are seeking something, right? It's one of the reasons we gather as church. You may not know what you're seeking. There's a couple of ways that we might find what we're seeking in life. One is to think about the things that you want and why you want them, like we talked about before with the new car example. Another is to just think about, well, what meaning, what brings me joy, and what do I think is missing in my life? But there's another tool that we can use to find what we're seeking. It's a book called One Word. And it was written by John Gordon and Dan Britton and Jimmy Page. And the idea is that and I recommend the book. Again, it's One Word. It's a good book. I recommend it. I read it about a year ago. And what they suggest is that you live your life kind of prayerfully for a short time. And it may be a couple days, maybe a couple weeks even. But you pray about it and you meditate on it. And eventually, a word filters up in your mind that you just latch onto, and you know that's your one word. And their suggestion is you live with that word for 1 year. That word becomes your mantra. It becomes kind of a little bit of a guiding force for you. It may be a word, it may be something you're seeking, it may be something that you're seeking to give to others. I entered into an environment a year or two ago that had some conflict in the past. And as part of our team building thing, we read this book together, and I just heard when I was praying, Jesus tell his disciples in John, peace, my peace I give you, my peace I bring to you, and I latched, that was my word, peace. And it was what I was seeking in my life at the time, and it turned out to be what I was seeking to give others. And so I was seeking to be the peace for others that I was wanting for myself. See, that's an example of how the one-word strategy works. And I encourage you to consider that. What's a word? What's something that you're looking for in 2016? Something you're looking to be or to do. And then one other tool that we have for figuring out what we're seeking, and I know some of you may say, well, where I am in my life, I'm not really seeking anything. Let me tell you something, whether it's today is the day you were born or you're 120 in your deathbed, you're seeking something. And Joan and Eric Erickson established this when they came up with something called life cycle theory, and they said that in every age of our lives, we're primarily seeking something. Infants are seeking to know that they can trust the environment that they're born into, so they're trying to attach to their parents so that they can trust the world. Okay? Adolescents, jumping ahead a few years in a couple stages in life, adolescents are trying to figure out who they are, and so they're seeking an identity that's separate from their family or separate sometimes from their friends. Sometimes they latch onto certain friends because they want to be like them, so they're seeking an identity. For adulthood, we're seeking to make our lives count. We're seeking to do something that makes a difference. And then in what they called maturity, which is generally ages 65 until the end of our lives, they said that what we're seeking is to be able to bless the life that we've lived and continue to make a difference with the time and the resources we still have. So you see, I really earnestly believe we're all seeking something, no matter where you are in life, no matter what your background is. And whether we realize it or not, you're the hero of your own story. And it's really neat to think about. So, if you know what you're seeking, wonderful. If you don't, I encourage you to pray on it. What am I hoping for in 2016? Maybe you're just hoping for a break from 2015. Maybe it wasn't that good. Or maybe you're looking to build on it and leapfrog into something greater. Pray God gives you clarity on that. Because you were made with a purpose. You were made with a purpose. Do you know what it is? I believe God puts a yearning in our hearts for something more than what we have. Not to make us dissatisfied or ungrateful with our lives, but to help us grow and strive for something more. Maybe you're looking for acceptance or peace, or to let go of guilt or anger. Maybe you're looking for community, for hope. Maybe you're searching for God, like Mary and Joseph were. Whatever it is you're seeking, I hope you know that the church is a great place to seek alongside other seekers. We're going to be unveiling a Seek slogan, new Seek banners. You're going to see Seek around. You're going to be hearing me say the word. I'll try to use other words like look from time to time so you don't get tired of it. But What are you seeking? We're going to be talking next week about what Jesus was seeking. And in the coming weeks after that, the rest of the month, we're going to be talking about what people outside the church are seeking in their lives so that we can be better prepared to minister to them and to reach out to them. But right now, I just hope you'll linger on that question. What is it I'm looking for? What am I seeking in 2016 and beyond? It's a new year. Even as we continue to sing Christmas songs today, Christmas hymns, there's a newness and a freshness about this young child that gives us hope. What are we seeking to do with our fresh start today?